let's see if he rips them or just makes money off of it. You make one bill, did you take them off the board? Did you do anything when you rip them? Maybe you be a little bit more correct, Fox in the Box, about your presentation of the complex conjugative.
The nice thing about having one of these and be able to rent it for a weekend, it's kind of just us for the weekend. No setup, no tent.
Let's bring in somebody who is also like Superman. Dan Bongino, host of Unfiltered on Fox News Channel and the Dan Bongino Show.
Wanna know why?
Because
he's a marshmallow.
Dan, good morning. You could probably
Some kid from fucking Nebraska trying to figure it out when Zod rolls in.
No, I am the worst swimmer you've ever seen. I mean, I can swim. I know how the breathing and everything works. But, in the Secret Service Academy, I had a really
probably
tough time
tear that
with
city
the
down to the
swimming,
ground
so
with those two.
I am terrible in the water. Pete, where I grew up in New York City, you swam in a fire hydrant, on your feet, and you would just make the motions. So I'm not a good swimmer at all. And I have to say, I admire you, man, for sucking it up and doing it. That takes
That's why the test when you actually go with somebody that can't swim worth a shit, jumps over the buds, ain't good enough. The test is just about, will you stay? Can you follow orders? And I'm going to make it as physically hard as the possible. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to drown you. Now, I don't know exactly about that rule 100%. It might be about the index. Still enough of them pass. If you can't hold your breath across this, I'd have too many seals. But that might be a high-quality problem on the index. What do you mean? It's like this is an Euler's number of divergent flows. It's still a seal under the standard, but they couldn't fucking hold their breath long enough. Maybe the water missions on the security defense stock, the trajectories of these things don't fucking add up. Tell the temperature of the water by how many people failed today. This is something we know. This is something from a SEAL trainer. That's a real math. May have never done it, but it's like when the population starts to not make it across the pool, I could tell actions at spooky distance that maybe the conditions. And it'd probably be on the Farmer's Almanac as well about, we get a lot of that early index about this time of the year, unless it's an indoor pool. But out there in the ocean, man, they're just smashing that bell. It's like, look, we got to pay attention to that out here. This isn't necessarily their detail inside here. We operate. And I hope they do. I hope it's coming in. That's what they do. You know,
You just go out and do it. You must be so confident in the failure.
Write the bill yourself. You obviously know where the failing sounded are. It's like I got my finger in this dike, my dick into this part of it, this one over here. My pinky toe doing stuff, hitting buttons on the tapper here for 42. That's what it looks like. That's what the problem index like that would be. Take one of the best of us after the separation of that test. I'm going to take a buds player that knows Q25 or whatever variable of the secondary protocol to come in. I'm just going to go, done. And I'm going to Fermilab that thing so nobody can run around. You were getting pay. That's what you will keep. That is the job, soldier. When this comes through, you remind them of what power you get out of that.
I mean, think about it. What kind of evil?
You think America's gonna turn on you when you were like, this was the gold fucking standard of what these operations look like when you walk in Cuomo's desk?
Okay, and Dan,
or Fermilab, the White House. Those phone calls laid around about communications coming across on Q25, like talking Putin. Room 20, brother, XI, buried under the wall, you and Kublai Khan.
But not so much for really anyone else. Take a listen.
To make sure I have security.
Now I'll give you this. I'll give you this. It's like they don't work. It's like, what do you mean they don't work? It's like she's trying to save people for Social Security and much other stuff. She knows the people by name. She's got that graphic. Go to their houses. You obviously know the information to readjust those things instead of just dollar bills, right? Defund the police. You're so good inside here as a civilization that I should be able to check your indexes against rapes, murders, thefts, break-ins, regionally in your state or district. It's like maybe you do that once before we do this. And how did you get the vote to begin with? Was it really that the people are so convinced that that's what that is out there by the larger demographic that they couldn't see the trajectory of letting somebody go that's been arrested 25 times and then catches a $30,000 bail? Where is it going? How many times has he already caught bail? Where is that money coming from? How long would I have to work at $15 an hour to cover those kind of differentials where it just doesn't dent the system? Or put somebody behind bars in this situation with no reforming situation where I just pay them out for food, water, and shelter. Never once slide a psychologist through there to understand what it's like to be a murderer or what they think inside of here, so I can pick that index up at actions of spooky distances to say, well, hey, that's that case for them. That's what we do? Why not give them the needle? That's what you got it for. Some moral judge upholding the law. It's only as good as those who uphold it inside here that say, hey, the trajectory on this is better because I have 4 more guards, I have more systems, I pay more military units inside here, and it would be the same number anyways. It's not improving that. It's weighing on them. Have you ever gone to those systems? Be a guard. 1 on 25 in the pod. Like maybe one of them, because the information is there. Here's that number. Put them down. Bang. Hammers. Hammer. Hammer. So what you building today? Say you're sick and evil progressive crime policy. Isn't that a crime policy on the moral license, the trajectory, the values not presenting the information? The statistical analysis of 100 accidents and a minor accident of you going out there? The inciting riots and misinformation, illegal precedents against Trumpy Bear here and old fucking Putin next door dealing with the vote.
Look at the crime in New York. Look at this, the incidents that happened where they're beating up.
Who's not saying it? Who should be saying it? Who needs those words today against something on the timeline? Hey, I got the video right here. Use that if you got to. But in case you actually need somebody to present the numbers actively, M2 at those fucking stations, terminal velocity, 9.8 meters per second. M2. We go M1 and 9.8. Your job to the distance on those things, saying you're the human body, that is limited to this multi-world Schrödinger universe. It has Schrödinger's MN variables to it in the ground guy, operator, manager, owner of the company, senator, governor. It's like, those are the numbers. It's like, when I go there and it's like some mayor later on about the law, it's like, whoa, I love that case, actually. That's not breaking it. I don't need to make a new law, but there's that incident. Does it follow those standards?
So those comments are interesting, and we open up on the border.
You know, it's hard when you have to train a guy. It's not an 8-hour day. It's a 24-hour day, which you get paid 8 and you have to figure out the spring pressure for. This is compressed. You get paid to eat by the company, don't you? Because you use that money to buy the food you do. Not have the government do it for you.
It's just really good.
How can you do it off of one income like this at $10 an hour? How would you ever build enough equity just to get to work in that? Cut the car out?
And it's tonight on our channel.
Have to live so close to it that you can only have jobs in the minimum wage exit? Now, of course it makes you look like one of those assholes. It's like, well, we keep them locked down, and I'm going to use it. That's the fucking trajectory. Paint me the picture, Bob Ross, and I'm going to beat the devil out of it. Fucking rocket ship and multicolored, impossible colored systems. Tachyons, it's impossible color. When did it come up in the presentation? Oh, I would use that term now. That's the complex conjugative to the readjustment on this. That's that real thing in the world that it's got to look like in an M2 variable. M4, whatever they're slinging today with the new plastic bullets.
All right, guys, you